Hello everybody and welcome back to Let's Play Dark Souls. I'm your host VGMKoren, and in the last one we escaped the Undead Asylum, talked to a very distraught undead about the two bells that we have to ring, learned all about miracles and formed a covenant with God, or learned that we have a covenant with the gods, and of course murdered an innocent merchant for his sword. And that brings you up to speed. And so today we're going to continue our trek through Undeadburg. Now, as always, when you rest at a bonfire, it will reset the enemy positions that are around. So I might end up cutting footage if I end up dying a bunch, which is likely in this game. Very, very likely. Extraordinarily likely. I'm kind of wondering when our first death will end up being. But regardless, I will do that eventually. So, one thing to note about Dark Souls, and especially this area of the game, is I said in the last one, don't become human. This is because this is a very popular ganking area. And what that means is, in Dark Souls, when you're human, you can be invaded by other players who will attempt to kill you. And in this area, it's very popular for people to try and get this highest level gear in the game at level 1 and then come back and stomp all over new people, because that is what they do. And if you don't become human, you can't become invaded, and thus you will be safe. So that is generally speaking why you shouldn't become a human in this area of the game. I will show you what it looks like later though, and probably will get invaded, and probably, again, will die horribly. But that is for later. Ooh, a treasure chest. I love treasure chests. They're so rewarding. Everyone loves going and finding a giant new sword in a treasure chest. Unfortunately, this was not one of those treasure chests. And these guys have been throwing fire at us this entire time. Well, not these guys specifically. As always, if you don't walk up to enemies, they won't all attack you at once. And only one or two will— Ow! Don't throw fire at my face! I was just telling the game, or the people watching this, how considerate you were being. It's very rude. Estus flasks, as you might notice, don't recover that much HP. They're extremely good, and there are ways to improve them, and I will bring that up as we get there. Another murder. And, oh, that was dumb. I should have blocked that. Dark Souls, I want to be like, oh, this is one of the few games I'm good at, but I know that once I get into actually challenging foes, that people will mock me for everything I've ever said. Ever. Not that I would blame them. In fact, the first challenging enemy of the game is coming up in, like, 2 minutes. So that's going to be fun. Mostly because you're not expected to beat him at this point. But here's the residence key use. You can also open this door, I believe, with the master key, but I will be trying to get the appropriate keys. The main reason I picked up the master key, or yeah, is the master key. The main reason I picked it up is because I don't want to have to go back and search for keys if I end up missing one. It's more or less not entertaining to run around looking for a key, or more likely being like, where did that key come from, and Googling it. Stop guarding. I actually had a ton of trouble with these enemies the first time I came through and played this game, because no one ever tells you kicking breaks guards. But yes, kicking breaks guards, costs almost no stamina, and doesn't do any damage. 2 out of 3 isn't bad, especially since no other attack in the game really can break guards that way. So always try and draw out your enemies one at a time, and then mercilessly kill them with your counterattack. You should be able to do this with most enemies in the game. But imminent gorgeous view. Alright, did I pick up pine resin? I feel like I probably did. I was just, yeah, going on autopilot. So, okay, let me show how to do this. When you are in your equipment, you might notice that you have all these items that you can use. We're not going to have humanity. Actually, we will. We won't have Souls of the Lost Undead. Gold pine resin. That is how you assign items. You use the D-pad to change what you need, and we're going to go ahead and use that because we're about to fight a giant jerk. That guy. Alright, it's time for me to die. So this is a Black Knight. He does tremendous amounts of damage at this point in the game if you get hit by him. Don't get hit by him. The reason you want to use the gold pine resin you just found, the game, you might have been able to gather this from the game, but that is because these enemies are weak to lightning, as is everything else in the game. Lightning is the broken element. It is good against pretty much everything. I can't think of any boss. Okay, there's one boss that lightning is not great against. Oh god, don't stab me to death. And that's it. Fire is kind of the opposite way. Fire, there are lots of enemies who are resistant to fire, which, by the way, is the downside of pyromancy, but pyromancy has things to make up for it. Great, I lost my gold pine resin. As you can see, shield bashes also will reduce your stamina significantly, but very few weapons are capable of doing shield bashes. Alright, he's going to come up and slash. Always kite backwards. Usually... Oh my god, just die. I can't believe it. And he's still... Oh my god. They actually have really high odds of dropping their weapons and armor. Black Knights, that is. However, for the past 4 or 5 runs in this game, that guy in particular has refused to drop anything. He's a jerk. But regardless, what I really wanted is over here. The blue tier stone ring and the first equipment item that we're going to go ahead and put on. You can boost your defense while your HP is low. Extremely useful for not getting murdered a horrible, horrible death. Now, I'm actually... I am running out of Estus flasks. The smart thing to do would be to go home and to come back in just a second. But I do not believe in being smart. Oh god, it's a flaming barrel. Okay, maybe I will go home. Ow! You jerk. Why would you do that? So, here's what I'm going to do. I will see you when I'm back at this staircase. La 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 la. Alright, we're back at this staircase, which no longer has a flaming barrel. The world will change a little bit, sometimes, depending on your actions. I did not die, by the way, which is always good to mention. In fact, if I die, when I die, I will definitely broadcast it to you because it seems more fun. Now, here is a door that requires the master key or a different key, so we'll ignore that door because it goes to scary, scary places that I don't want to go right now. And over here, we have... Not that barrel. Not those barrels. Okay, maybe I was wrong. There was supposed to be something... Well, there wasn't supposed to be. I thought there was something in those barrels. Wait, maybe it's these barrels. Ramming your body through barrels, no matter what game you're in, is always a viable tactic for gaining loot. There it is! Get back here. This is a treasure... What do I even want to call you? Oh god, he's gonna get away probably. Yes, these things will disappear after a certain amount of time if you don't manage to catch them. Oh, I did it though. They give twinkling titanite and titanite chunks or shards, what have you, which are extremely useful for upgrading. And here we have some white light. This seems like a nice remote bridge that couldn't have anything wrong with it. Oh wait, I should start my timer again. And oh hey, crossbowmen. These guys, you do want to come up here first and get rid of these guys. Go ahead and murder you and you. All the murder. We actually have a bunch of souls, which is fantastic. Now, you might be wondering, why is this ladder here? And why is that overhang there? And why are there guys up there trying to shoot you? And the reason why is because... Wait for it. Giant demons fall from the sky. This is the Tartarus Demon, the first real boss in the game. He's giant, he has another angry hammer, and he's big. Now, there are several ways to go about doing this boss, and I do want to actually show off the easiest way to cheese this boss if you don't feel like fighting him. Now, I'm not going to do this, but I want to show this off. As you might remember, you can do plunging attacks. So run all the way back over here, and you are actually invulnerable to his attacks, I believe. Don't quote me on that. When you're up here. Run off, plunging attack. Tons of damage to his face. And you can just repeat that over and over until he dies. However, that's no fun. Ow. What is fun, however, is trying not to get brutally murdered while fighting him. Dark Souls, really, you're playing for the boss fights. These are some of the... I think Dark Souls has some of the best boss fights in game design. They're just lots of fun. And also have a lot of HP now that I'm looking at how little damage we're doing. I should be a little bit more aggressive. That's not a bad amount of damage to take. Yes, you can roll through enemies. You have invincibility frames in your roll. However, the fatter your roll is, the less invincibility frames you're going to have. So remember that. And once I level up my stamina some, we'll have much better rolls, which will be a good thing. Thankfully, this guy, like a lot of big enemies, it's more dangerous to be at his striking range than at his toes, or like a lot of big boss enemies in video games. They're never good at defending their toes. I already say that as I get the hell beaten out of me. So yeah, Dark Souls boss number 1, the Tartarus Demon. Or, well, I guess number 2 if you really want to count the Asylum Demon. They're... The strategy for this guy, as mentioned, get in his toes. Don't get hit by his giant attacks. Oh my god, you are such a pain. Oh, there we go. I always forget to use heavy attack. That's the stupidest thing I could possibly say. I forget to use heavy attacks. But really, they are extremely useful. Oh my god. I want out of your crotch. It's not a happy place for me. And the Tartarus Demon is dead. 2 bosses down. Not bad. Huh, humanity and the Homeward Bone are your rewards for that boss, as they will be for most bosses. And, of course, a buttload of souls, which is the technical term for it, yes. Actually, 3,000 is not that many, but it's double what we have now. And, yeah. I'm trying... Is there anything here? Message. Oh, safe zone. Great. Thanks, message. Yes, there is something here. Usually you can see things flashing if they're there, and find the soul of a lost undead corpse on a guy in a fetal position. Dark Souls is a cheerful game. Just the most cheerful. And here we have, over here we have the best character in the game. Let's talk to him.
Ah, hello. You don't look hollow, far from it. I am Soler of Astora, an adherent of the Lord of Sunlight. Now that I am undead, I have come to this great land, the birthplace of Lord Gwyn, to seek my very own son. You find that strange? Well, you should. No need to hide your reaction. I get that look all the time.
Something to be said about Dark Souls is you always want to talk to NPCs repeatedly. Why? Well...
Oh, aha. So I didn't scare you. I have a proposition, if you have a moment. The way I see it, our fates appear to be intertwined. In a land brimming with hollows, could that really be mere chance? So what do you say? Why not help one another on this lonely journey? This pleases me greatly. Well then, take this. We are amidst strange beings in a strange land. The flow of time itself is convoluted, with heroes centuries old phasing in and out. The very fabric wavers, and relations shift and obscure. There's no telling how much longer your world and mine will remain in contact. But use this to summon one another as spirits, cross the gaps between the worlds, and engage in jolly cooperation. Of course, we are not the only ones engaged in this, but I am a warrior of the sun. spot my summon signature easily by its brilliant aura. If you miss it, you must be blind. Oh, hello there. I will stay behind to gaze at the sun. The sun is a wondrous body, like a magnificent father. If only I could be so grossly incandescent.
And there you have it, Solaire of Astoria. He is one of the favorite characters in this series, and he's just a fantastic character. We'll talk about him more later, but the White Soapstone will allow you to summon other people to your world, or in fact be summoned to other worlds. We'll go into how later when it becomes relevant. Now, something you should think about before you charge down this bridge is you should look up. Oh wait, you can't see it. Okay, that's fine. Well, we're just gonna charge out here. La 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 la. Okay, that's far enough. It wasn't far enough. Wait, yes it was, yes it was, yes it was. Dragons. They're not just for looking really cool anymore. That's right. This dragon is the guardian master of this bridge, and he's a jerk. So, we'll deal with him later. Much later. Not right now. Not right now at all. So, one of the other things I love in Dark Souls is something that I'm about to do, which is to kick this ladder. Yes! Ladder kicking! But in reality, what I love doing is punching upwards on ladder. Okay, I'm going to stop making ladder jokes. We are now back in the earlier part of the Undeadburg. Dark Souls is a giant interconnected world, and there are always shortcuts back to the bonfire. And that, even though this episode has been a little bit short, is where we're going to leave it. In the next one, I will deal with that giant dragon on the bridge. So I hope to see you then. And maybe even we'll enjoy some jolly cooperation. Actually, no, we won't. Actually, I'm going to talk about that while I spend my souls, because this episode's not over yet. Haha! I tricked you. Or myself. Anyways. We're going to go ahead and get a whole bunch of things. What I want to do is I actually will not be summoning many people for boss fights. If I can do it, I won't be summoning people ever. I think Dark Souls is at its most fun when you are playing by yourself against bosses. It's just the best. It's difficult, it's hard, and is a challenge worth doing. So that is how I enjoy playing this game. Now we're going to go ahead and equip a new weapon, which is the katana we got from our merchant. This is, again, one of the best dexterity weapons in the game, especially once we level it up a bit. So, yeah, I look forward to using it on everything. In the next one, we will take care of the dragon. I will not be summoning people. I might summon Solaire for boss fights or NPCs, but I will not summon another person, and I will try not to even summon any NPCs because I just think it's more interesting that way. Bosses are fun alone. There is one boss I have in mind who I might break this rule for because it's a boss fight. So, in the next one, not going to say anything else about the dragon. We'll see what's beyond the dragon. How about that? And I will show how to actually get beyond it, get a special weapon from it, and get to the next bonfire, which is really easy to miss. So I hope to see you then.